がここにいるうちの本物のスクールスポーツのために行こうぜベイビーバンこの国は気をつけて、現実になることがありますからね。
Alright, so this is my post-fight review for Tenshin Nasukawa versus Jason Moloney. A very intriguing fight. Really and truthfully, guys, this is a very intriguing fight because we know with Tenshin Nasukawa, he comes from a kickboxing background. He's like a legend, cash cow of kickboxing over there in Japan. And he's been showing a lot of growth in the pros. Been growing at a very fast rate as a professional fighter. And this is a big step up in class for him because he was taking on the former world champion Jason Moloney, who's never easy out for anybody in this division. So we're gonna see in this fight if Tenshin Nasukawa is really, you know, what they say he is. If he's really like as good as advertised, as the hype. And you know, I saw a lot of really just nuances to his skill set. And it's funny with Tenshin, right? Because you guys know I'm pretty cool with Angelo Leo. It's my guy. And it's funny because I know Angelo sparred a lot of Japanese fighters, and I asked Angelo many years ago. Like 2 or 3 years ago, I asked him. I said, "Hey man, who's the best Japanese fighter you ever sparred?" You know, I'm expecting Angelo to give me a name like Subaru Murata, right? And he told me without hesitation. He said, "No, Tenshin Nasukawa is the best fighter I've sparred from Japan because of Tenshin's timing, his counter-punching ability, right?" And ever since that day, I've taken Subaru Tenshin a lot more serious, and he's never disappointed me. So that. Fun, cool little tidbit there. But as far as the fight, listen, Moloney came to fight. You know, in the first round, you saw Moloney finding a good home for that 1-2 down the middle, and you know, Tenshin was already presented with some challenges early on to nullify that. You know, Moloney early on in this fight had clearly shown that he was a better fighter in close range. Tenshin showed that he was better when he had more room to operate. So the blueprint was there. He needed to get more room to operate to have the best chance to beat Moloney. But Moloney wasn't going to go anywhere. And this is a fight where Tenshin had to really earn it. And it was crazy because after about 3 or 4 rounds, Tenshin found a way to use the ring, you know, and he's just doing these real subtle things in there that only high-level guys do. You know, pinning and probing with the lead hand, you know. He's purposely taking step backs, L-stepping, circling the ring, walking Jason Moloney into you know, the uppercut, the left uppercut to the body, right to the body. And he's just doing all these things at a high level. And sometimes I had to remind myself in the fight that Tenshin was only 5-0, but that this is only a 6-pro fight because he's gotten really polished so quickly. But you know, one thing about Tenshin that was really impressive to me was that Tenshin did show some good strength in this fight when Moloney would close the gap in him at times. Like I think Tenshin showed that he's a world level fighter. At this point, Tenshin is a world level fighter. He made a lot of adjustments in this fight. He held off a very game Jason Moloney. He showed that ability to fight off his back foot and counterpunch. And I think the counterpunching abilities, the ability to fight off the back foot, that was the difference in the fight, and he wound up getting a decision victory. So listen, very impressed with Tenshin Nasukawa. Tenshin Nasukawa is ready for a world title. Tenshin Nasukawa is ready to really take that next step as a superstar of Japanese boxing. I think Tenshin, you know, now because they had the WBO champion in the ring. They had Yoshiki Takei in the ring. And that's the route they're going to go. And listen, for those of you who don't know about that fight, in Japan, that's a big fight because Tenshin Nasukawa, he was a phenom, a Hall of Famer, like the TBE of Japanese kickboxing. He was like 44-0 in kickboxing. And Yoshiki Takei is also an accomplished kickboxer. They both transitioned from kickboxing to boxing. Yoshiki Takei wanted to become a champion, beating this same Moloney. And he almost, you know, Moloney had a lot more success in the back half of that fight than Moloney had against Tenshin. But, you know, he's proven to be a legitimate, like, world championship fighter, right? And that being said, that's a really good fight. You know, and I'll just say it like this. I think Tenshin Nasukawa is going to rip that title right off of him, honestly, because Yoshiki Takei has a very strong left hand. He's a powerful puncher, but I just think Tenshin, you talk about Tenshin Nasukawa's speed, his reflexes, his counterpunching abilities. And in this fight, he showed the ability, the know-how of how to make adjustments. You know, Yoshiki Takei, when he fought Jason Moloney, I saw a lack in conditioning. I saw the ability to not make like adjustments in that fight. But he's a good fighter. Like I don't want to put him down because Yoshiki Takei, he beat Daigo Higa, right? And he beat him, he beat him in clear fashion. And he's beat Jason Moloney. So he ain't chopped liver. Like Yoshiki Takei can fight. But I just think when you talk about Tenshin Nasukawa, you talk about what he brings to the table from his counterpunching, his reflexes, his strength, his boxing brain, his confidence. I think he's bringing something really special to the table. But I do think Tenshin still has to be careful because Tenshin did show a tendency in this fight with Moloney to keep his head on the center line. And Takei in that fight is the bigger puncher. So I could see a scenario where, Tenshin might be just styling and profiling, making Yoshiki Takei miss, countering him, making him pay. And then, he gets a little overconfident, keeps his head there, has a mental lapse, and then bang, Yoshiki Takei will just get him out of there. So it's a real intriguing fight because for as skillful and as much more craft as I think that Tenshin does have than Yoshiki Takei, I think Yoshiki Takei is a bigger puncher and could get him out of there if Tenshin isn't careful. But if I gun to my head, I gotta make a pick. I'm going with Tenshin by decision in that fight. I just think he's got more with him. I think he's got more skills. He can punch, and he's not no punk. Like there's skilled fighters that are like front runners and that are kind of like punks. Like they have skills when they're at range and whatnot, but when you close a gap on them and they gotta fight, they can't really fight. Tenshin's not one of those guys. Tenshin can really fight, as he showed in this Moloney fight. So I think Tenshin's going to be a world champion this year. And we're going to have some potentially massive unification fights. If Junto comes through his fight with Nishida, Tenshin and Junto would be a massive 3-belt unification, which actually would make the potential Inoue fight bigger for Junto. And if Tenshin somehow beats Junto, oh my God, Tenshin versus Inoue would be even like 100 times bigger than Junto versus Inoue. For those of you who don't know, that's a way bigger fight than Junto versus Inoue. And then you also got my guy, Seiya Tsutsumi, who I think is, very underrated in the Japanese boxing establishment. They keep screwing him over and over again, but he's really, really good. And you got to basically kill that guy to win. If you don't kill that guy, you're not going to beat him. So, that being said, really top drawer performance from Tenshin Nasukawa today, and just a lot of growth. Growth is what I'll use because Jason Moloney is not a can. He's not like some low level nobody. He's a former world champion. This is a guy that not a lot of guys can beat in the bantamweight division, and Tenshin showed the ability to beat him and do it in a convincing fashion. So that being said, let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about Tenshin Nasukawa's performance against Moloney? What do you guys think about potential title fight against Yoshiki Takei? And yeah, leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this, make sure you guys click right over here. Keep watching my boy BT put on the best interviews out here.